Alright, so 2-minute Tanya tidbit for today. So in yesterday's Tanya, we established that not everybody is able to become a tzaddik. However, to be a Beinoni, that's fully in your control, as you can choose what you think, say, or do. And therefore you can fully be in control of yourself being a Beinoni at all times. The Alter Rebbe is going to now answer the question. Seemingly it's very strange. We said the original oath that we started off the Tanya with, that we make a neshama swear before it comes into this world that it should be a tzaddik and not to be a rasha. Seemingly this is repetitious, as obviously if you're being a tzaddik, obviously you're not a rasha. So why do we make him take two oaths? Number one, don't be a tzaddik, and number two, don't be a rasha. So the Alter Rebbe now is able to answer that. Because the idea of being a tzaddik, we make him swear, but not necessarily can everybody actually attain that level. Not necessarily can everyone fully have a full hate for bad. Not everyone is able to reach that. But the idea of being a Beinoni at least, meaning not to be a rasha, the second oath, that everybody's able to do. As you're in full control of yourself to be able to control that your thought, speech, and action should be fully for only God and His Torah at all times. And therefore both in Sur Meirah, staying away from evil, and in Aseh Tev, doing good, and doing good, especially the good of Torah. That's it, everyone is in control of themselves at all times to be able to make sure that they do properly. And that's why we do the two parts of this promise. But still, we make every person take the first oath as well. As everybody has to be able to try to be a tzaddik. You have to try and do your best to be able to reach that level. How can you reach that level? You need to set times to yourself to think about things which are going to arouse your hate for bad and your love for God. Which means that you need to think about things which are going to arouse your hate for bad. Think about the desires that you have, a desire for different things, and how it's going to end up turning into bad. Picture your desires, that they are a bucket full of feces. And think about the food and those other desires of this world that you want. Anything in this world, any of the enjoyments of this world are going to end up rotting away, and they're going to become trash. They're going to go to the garbage. They're not worth investing in. And instead, you should also think about love for God. Think about God's greatness the best that you can, how He's unlimited and He's so great. And therefore, you'll at least be able to aspire in a certain sense. And at some times, for a little bit of time at least, you'll be able to fulfill the first part of the oath that you should be a tzaddik. And number two, even if you don't end up reaching that level right away, but maybe if you try hard enough and you keep on doing it again and again, this will become your second nature. As we know that someone gets used to something, it becomes kind of who they are. And so when a person trains himself slowly to think about how this world is not good, how instead Hashem is good, and he tries to invest in that more and more, it will become more and more natural to him. And perhaps he'll be able to arouse Hashem so much through his working so hard to be a tzaddik, Hashem will be able to give him the idea of a special neshama, that the neshama from a certain tzaddik, even though his neshama is not able to be a tzaddik yet, but a neshama from a different tzaddik will be willing to come into him to be able to have the idea of an ibor, that he should be able to be part of him and become pregnant and become one with this person, and he should be able to reach the level of a tzaddik, and Hashem will actually be able to fulfill the second half of the promise, the first half of the promise of actually becoming a tzaddik in a real sense. But even if not, at least you try and you aspire to reach that level as is demanded from every person. See you next time.